Do you guys see this painting here? This is a 19th century painting. Came from the Victorian era. This is something I don't need to do a lot of research on because it's stuff I already know. I've taken a lot of art classes. Now, what about this painting here? This is another painting from the 19th century, the Victorian era. Well, let me tell you some things about paintings from the Victorian era. The Victorian era was a very Puritan time. Looking at this painting, you see how she's holding a Holy Bible up in front of her face, while something very, very kinky is happening behind her. And she's got kind of that, kind of a smirk, like a tiny twinge in her cheek, like she knows what's happening. She's turning a blind eye. During the Victorian era, it was a very Puritan time. Sexuality was highly looked down upon. One of the ways that people protested in this was not just Lord Byron's sex parties, but it was also in artwork. They protested against the Victorian Puritan time of sexual oppression by making paintings like this, talking about that, basically making the statement that we are sexual creatures, that we want sexual liberation. We don't want this sexual Puritanism thing going on. So while she's looking at the Bible, and the Bible says, "Whoa, we're not supposed to do these things," well, people do it anyway. And you know that this Puritan ideology didn't work. It didn't work. You know how you know that? Not just because of paintings like this. Like this. This is actually a homoerotic one. This is two females. For the sake of sexual liberation from the Victorian era and its Puritan ideology. But one of the ways that I'm sorry, I got kind of sidetracked for a minute. I don't know, I had kind of a brain fart. Sorry about that. But, yeah, so they made these paintings as a way of saying, and many other arts as well, as basically saying this is human nature. Oh, well, we know that the puritanical ideology of the Victorian age didn't work, not just because of artwork like these, but because there's still people. I mean, let's face it. If people did not fuck, we would have won the Darwin Award. If we did not have the drive to reproduce, we would have won the Darwin Award a long time ago. We would be extinct. There'd be no people. This puritanical age did not last, and it did not work. What about this painting here? These are nymphs down here in the water. Nymphs were associated with some kind of folklore of lust. But the thing about them is they're tempting this man into luring him into his doom, but there's somewhat of an eroticism to it. And this is not about, being patronizing towards women. This is not about objectifying women. This is about sexual liberation, because sex in general was looked down upon very, very much in these times. There's other paintings like this too. One that I think of the most is one where a Victorian woman is slightly lifting up her dress with a small smile on her face to show her leggings. This is not about the subjugation of women, because women were participating in this as well. Is that sexuality back in the Victorian times was highly looked down upon, and this was basically hidden statements. I mean, yeah, you could come out when you make this painting, it's like, oh, the evil nymphs are tempting this guy to his doom. When really this is kind of like softcore porn, because it was something like that wouldn't have been allowed. So we have these paintings. It was about sexual liberation. I can't drive that home enough. I mean, these people were sexually oppressed. It was not acceptable to have sex out of wedlock. It wasn't acceptable. I mean, you think that's all well and good, right? Like, that there's no problem here. Like, sexual liberation, sure, why not? You know, you have this one and this one and this one. You know, we're tired of being told we can't have sex. We're tired of it. We want to have sex. Men, women, doesn't matter. Well, what if I were to tell you this painting here is censored. This painting here, censored. This one too. In fact, we can come here and we can look at all of these sexual liberated pictures. So you get some homoerotic ones, more male homoerotic ones there. This one is a Victorian painting from New Zealand. And what I did to find this, you Victorian art paintings, sexual liberation. There was a lot of these in the Victorian age. A lot of art pieces trying to express sexual liberation in the highly sexually oppressive times of the Victorian age. This is not Victorian. That's not Victorian. I don't know why that's there. But yeah, women, rights people, social justice warriors apparently have an issue with 19th century sexual liberation art. This is a good one. See, they put it off as Victorian scandal. No. This was saying, hey, we're horny little people. We wanna fuck. But you're talking about a very puritanical time. Sex was forbidden. It was a no-no. People did it anyway, I guess. Don't believe me on all this? Well, let's have a look at this article. Remember the nymphs? The gallery removes naked nymphs painting to prompt conversation. Oh, man. So now the neo-feminists, because, you know, it's objectifying women, it's misogyny, essentially. I guess it's just white, male, patriarchal nonsense. No, it isn't. I'm afraid this is very, very sad. This is a sad article. It is a painting that shows pubescent, naked nymphs tempting a handsome young man to his doom. But it is an erotic Victorian fantasy. Too far? Is it an erotic Victorian fantasy too far? Okay, I did read that right the first time. Ugh. And one which, in the current climate, is unsuitable and offensive to modern audiences. So we're just going to do it. We're going to put all the fucking books on the bonfire and watch 10,000 years go up into flame. Unfucking believable. Manchester Art Gallery has asked the question after removing the John William Waterhouse, Hellas, and the Nymphs, one of the most recognizable of the pre-Raphaelite paintings, from its walls. Postcards of the painting will be removed from sale in the shop. The painting was taken down on Friday and replaced with a notice explaining that a temporary space had been left to prompt conversation about how we display and interpret artworks in Manchester's public collection. Members of the public have stuck post-it notes around the notice giving their reaction. I cannot read this scribble. That is some bad handwriting. All I can read is good subject. 4. Debate. I think that's supposed to say debate. That's a fucked up B. That's a fucked up T. I can't read that scribble. I'm sorry, I can't. That's bad handwriting. I can't read it. Claire Ganaway, the gallery's curator of contemporary art, said the aim of the removal was to provoke debate, not to censor. Well, you bloody well fucking did it anyway, didn't you? It wasn't about denying the existence of particular artworks. The work usually hangs in a room titled In Pursuit of Beauty, which contains late 19th century paintings showing lots of female flesh. What did I tell you about the Victorian age? It was a puritanical time. Oh, this one I can read. Do not be defined by binary definitions of gender. Explanation point, question mark, explanation mark. Really celebrate woman. I think that's what that says. Ganaway said the title was a bad one, as it was male artists pursuing women's bodies and paintings that presented the female body as a passive, decorative art form or a femme fatale. You need to brush up on your art history, because no, that's not what the paintings were about. It was about sexual liberation because they were sexually oppressed. Dumb bitch. And it quotes, "For me personally, there is a sense of embarrassment that we haven't dealt with it sooner." What? History? This is a part of our history. You really do. You want to just throw all the fucking books on the bonfire and watch 10,000 years of history just burn into flame. Shit. Our intention has been elsewhere. We've collectively forgotten to look at this space and think about it properly. We want to do something about it now because we have forgotten about it for so long. Forgotten about what? How to interpret history? How to put it into perspective of the time that it came from? And not put it into the perspective of your biased opinion based on the world you live in now and from an echo chamber of bullshit. It's art. I can't fucking believe this. They're taking down fucking art because she's offended that it has naked women. Like, nudity should be something you should be ashamed of. Oh, fuck you. I can read this note, I think. Why not remove sirens and Ulysses. Sorry, Sirens and Ulysses. In Gallery 6, based on a similar concept of femme fatale. Was it a bit too heavy to carry? Oh, that's funny. Good trolling there, that's funny. Ganaway said the debates around Time's Up and hashtag #MeToo, fucking hashtag #MeToo, had fed into the decision. Oh my god. Well, you know there's no fucking god because this is happening. The removal itself is an artistic act and will feature in a solo show by the artist Sonia Boyce, which opens in March. People can tweet their opinion using hashtag Mag Sonia Boyce. But please send this lady a tweet saying, do not take art down just because you find it offensive. This is art that came around, like, I mean, I had to watch modern feminists paint with their period blood and create texture with blood clots from period blood from their fucking vaginas. That's disgusting, but, you know, I wouldn't have it taken down, even though it's technically kind of a biohazard. This is oil paint. Depictions of the human body in its natural form. Seriously, fuck you. Please tell Sonia Boyce to preserve this art. Please. The responses so far has been mixed. Social justice warriors, stay out of it. Some have said it sets a dangerous precedent, while others have called it po-faced and politically correct. Politically correct. This has nothing to do with political correctness. This has something... You have to understand the context of which it came from history. Honestly. Go and look it up. Look up the Victorian times and look at how they viewed sex. Go and look it up. The artist, Michael Brown, who attended the event where the painting was taken down, said he was worried the past was being erased. Thank you. This is not a pornographic depiction anymore. This is a representation of an artist's interpretation of the world they lived in that time. I don't like replacement and removal of art and being told that's wrong and this is right. They are using their power to veto art in a public collection. We don't know how long the painting will be off the wall. It could be days, weeks, months. Unless there are protests, it might never come back. Holy shit, please don't say that. Yeah, you don't know what... I mean, if you don't paint in oil, you have no idea what this takes. This is seriously a lot of work. Like days. Texture, detail. I'm not even joking. Brown said he feared historical paintings were being jettisoned. I don't know what... I'd have to look that up. I honestly am not familiar with this term right there. Jettisoned? I don't know. In favor of contemporary ones. Probably, I wouldn't doubt that. I know there are other works in the basement that are probably going to be deemed offensive for the same reasons, and they are not going to see the light of day. We're entering another fucking puritanical time. Sexual censorship. Unbelievable. Ganaway said the removal was not about censorship. But it is. It is. Oh, come on. This is about censorship. We think it probably will return, yes, but hopefully contextualized quite differently. It is not just about that one painting. It is the whole context of the gallery. What? Waterhouse is one of the best known pre-Raphaelites, whose Lady of Shalott is one of the Tate Britain's best-selling postcards. But some of his paintings leave people uncomfortable, so don't buy the fucking postcards and don't see the fucking exhibits. And he has been accused of being one step away from a pornographer. Oh my God, are we going to go digging up the graves of Victorian artists and putting them on trial for sexually objectifying people? Because they didn't just do this with females, they did it with males too. Reviewing the 2009 Royal Academy of Art show devoted to Waterhouse, the critic Waldemar, I cannot pronounce this last name, wrote of a painting showing the death of Saint Eula. Sorry, that's not even how you say that. Ilula, a 12-year-old girl. I did not know whether to laugh, cry, or call the police. If anyone who reads our reporting, who likes it, helps fund it, our future would be blah, 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 support. No. So yeah, hashtag Metoo has officially gone too far. Seriously. This is not a pornographic painting, and so what? Even if it was for back then, it shouldn't be considered that now. Any other time in history where they've told artists that they can or cannot paint things, it's been called censorship. It is the same thing now. Social justice warriors, stay the fuck away from art. Stop trying to tear up history because you're putting your stupid slant on things. You have no idea what this was about. You didn't live in the Victorian age. You have no idea. Unbelievable. This is absolutely depressing to me if you don't know. Absolutely depressing. If anyone watching this, if you want, I might get on Twitter and I'm gonna here it is right here. Okay? Hashtag Mag Sonia Boyce. Tell her to keep the painting up. This is about this is censorship. I'm sorry. Lately I've been stuttering. I don't know why. It's a new thing. I've never stuttered before. I don't know why this is becoming a thing, but this is really frustrating to me. I really hope they keep the painting up. This is censorship. This is stifling creativity and artistry. I will leave the link to this article below. And I also would like to say that where I found out about this is right here. Christina Hoff Sommers, the factual feminist, tweeted out about this. And I really hope people come in support to keep this painting up. And I talked about this in the previous video that I uploaded, and this is why I feel that censorship is just another fancy way of saying limited speech. Only it goes into expressions of it, such as art. And that's not something I'm in favor of whatsoever. Like, it's getting scary. It's really getting scary at this point. Please stop walking. I mean, if you're that offended, don't walk out of your house. Stay at home. Stay in your little echo chamber, your little safe bubble, if you will. By all means, do you. But don't go censoring art just because you're offended by it. Don't see these exhibits. I'm really disturbed by this. I'm sorry. I'm really disturbed. And I am very concerned about censorship and free speech. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hit the bell button on any channel you're subscribed to. And with that, I'm out.